Hello, welcome everybody. This is Neil with PortalToAscension. How are you all doing today? Coming at you live on the YouTube channel here with a special guest. And I'm excited to be introducing this guest today because I've actually heard of him and met him once at Conscious Life Expo, but this is the first time we're actually talking face to face. Literally just came in the Zoom room like 2 minutes ago, and we just said hi directly to with each other for the first time ever. And his work, a lot of my friends have been talking about what he does. Deborah Juicy, for example, who's a great friend of mine, has been a huge support of Tom's work. And we're going to get into today not only what he does and the technology he offers and the offer that he has for everybody that is going to be tuning in here, but really what is scalar energy and what is the actual science behind it all and how Tom got into this in the first place. So we're gonna just go ahead and get started here. Tom, thank you so much for being here, brother. I appreciate you and I'm glad to meet you.
Neil, an honor, pleasure.
So, thank you, man. So why don't we start out with this? I want to know a bit about you and your journey. Like, how did you get into this in the first place?
Well, I've always considered that there's two energies. Because if you look at the universe, there has to be two explanations for many of the phenomena that we see in the universe. Well, Nikola Tesla knew that. Tesla developed electrical instruments and he also developed scalar energy instruments. So Tesla was the master really at this. He realized that there was electromagnetic energy and radiant energy, or what we call today scalar energy. He was absolutely right. And Tesla, we should follow his lead. He knew something. And Tesla saw the merit of scalar energy. And frankly, later in his life, he essentially abandoned his AC electrical research in preference for scalar energy. So the other energy, scalar energy, is very real. And the world is starting to realize that there is another energy, another dimension that we can work with.
Right. And how does this energy, well, let's get into some of the science behind it all, because I believe it. I know it works. I've actually had friends that have signed up with you and have received benefits from it. And actually, when I met you at Conscious Life Expo, I don't even know if you were there or if someone was at your booth, but I submitted my an image of myself too. And this was I think 5-6 years ago. You've been doing this for quite some time, right? So, and so I really did feel something from it too. I didn't continue with it, and then we're now reconnecting. So what is the science behind it all? Can you break that down a little bit?
Sure. Let me use an analogy. If electricity, you capture, so to speak, a current, it's the flow of electrons. Well, with scalar energy, you're capturing scalar energy, which really is the omnipresence. It's an all-pervading energy. It's not a stream of electrons. So what have I done? I have scalar energy instruments that capture this energy. Where is the energy originating from? The sun, the stars. So scalar energy, sunlight or starlight. And I'm able to capture that energy through an instrument. And once I have scalar energy at my beck and call, I can create a molecular form or break down a molecular form. Scalar energy is responsible for molecular bonds, chemical bonds. And I can either create a chemical bond or I can break down a molecular bond. It's very fascinating what you can do with this energy.
And have you been so how do you quantify that? Is there laboratory results that you can do? So basically you have an instrument that's capturing scalar energy. Scalar energy is emanated by the sun, right? So that's some specific technology, but then how do you quantify it and even know that it's doing what it's doing?
So that's a good point. So let me make this clear. When I work with these instruments, I work with a photograph of a person. This is my photograph. I would actually place my photograph inside an instrument. And the instrument then would look at, say, my force field on the photograph. So I can prove my work on the photograph because the photograph is always in my laboratory inside my instrument. But then I need people's feedback as to how they feel. Now, keep in mind, I only work with photographs, so I can prove my work through a photograph, but I cannot prove my work with people. So this is the science of scalar energy, in which we work remotely with force fields on photographs, or the energy signature on a photograph. Does it work? Well, apparently it does. because after I work with people's photographs, they tell me that they feel great. Now, what does that call to mind? Well, a photograph probably is energetically alive with scalar energy. And a photograph represents a person's body double, or their mind double, their spirit double. So a photograph can access a quantum field. A photograph allows me to access the quantum field of a person. It's quite fascinating.
That is very fascinating. And it kind of reminds me of like, in the olden days, they used to think that taking a photo would capture someone's soul, but it's not even that, it's beyond that. It's kind of like an imprint of their consciousness, right?
Yes, it is.
And it's always directly connected to the individual. It's not like a standalone imprint, because from what you're doing, it's not like a standalone imprint that you're actually messing and manipulating with the photograph. It's actually having a direct effect on the person who was in it in the first place, right?
Yeah, you're right. That's brilliant. No, it's the imprint of their consciousness. My photograph carries my signal or consciousness. My consciousness, my energetic fingerprint is on my photograph. This is what I've discovered through my technique, through my research. So this opens up a new field, the scalar energy force field. It's a paradigm. It's not electricity. It's not magnetism. So this is what's so exciting about my work. I'm introducing to mankind a new energy spectrum.
You mentioned Tesla a bit, and so he abandoned, you said, the focusing on specifically electricity, right? And went into the scalar realm, which is an omnipresent energy that exists all the time, rather than some third-dimensional electricity we need to send from one place to another using light. So what you're doing is you're tapping into the quantum world with scalar, right?
Exactly. That you hit the nail on the head. So what's the drawback of electricity? You have to rely upon a stream of electrons, and that's limited. When you work with scalar energy, you work with the consciousness of the universe, the mind of God, and that is unlimited. I mean, I can't emphasize this enough. Scalar energy is the technology par excellence. There's nothing like it.
So are you like bombarding, for lack of a better term, the image with these scalar waves? Are they different protocols for different people, or is it the same energy throughout?
It's a standardized process. Why? Because energy is fundamental. So I have a fundamental process, and it's the same process for every photograph. Now, for instance, today in my laboratory, I was working with 250,000 photographs. People send me collages of photographs. I was working with 250,000 people by way of their photograph, and all sessions are identical. So this allows me to standardize my session and work with 250,000 people in one day.
Wow. So from what I'm hearing, is that the reason why it's standardized like that is because the 0 point energy is the reset energy of everything that is, They have, I don't know if you ever heard of the 0 point wands that they had. It's just a standard frequency where you put it over anybody. But what it does is it reminds your cells and your consciousness how it was at its original state, its pristine state.
Yes.
So regardless of the ailment or dis-ease, that 0 point frequency will have what effect it needs to have for that individual, right?
Yeah, precisely. So it's the steady state. Let's say that scalar energy is the perfect state. So the perfect state is a steady state that never changes. It's homeostasis. And I believe scalar energy is the energy of heaven. That's why nobody can die in heaven. That's why there's no disease in heaven.
That makes sense. And, that actually connects so much to quantum physics and singularity and black holes and all that. So it is really, really a science that we're just now rediscovering, right? And obviously Tesla was into it, and that's why they call this the lost century, because of all the Tesla technology that we could have really got. So I'm curious, how long have you been doing this now? And let's get into some results, maybe some testimonials.
It's been a lifelong journey, if you will, for 50 some years, and it's well worth it. It's painstaking, but I look at the fruit of my research, and it's going to be a global outreach. It will have global implications. Some recent testimonies. I've been working with people in Tanzania who had HIV. I've had the ability to access an HIV clinic in Tanzania since 2017. And after working with their photographs, these people went on to have a PCR test, or some type of viral load test. And I just heard in the past month and a half that everybody that I work with in Tanzania no longer has HIV. Now, this is from their account. This is from their diagnostic test in Tanzania. They're all healthy. And many of them returned to work and are living a full, active life. Now, keep in mind, I never visited Tanzania. People sent me photographs from Tanzania, and I treated those photographs by way of scalar light. So, according to their testimonies, they no longer have HIV. Many people, many people.
So are there people that have maybe not, what about the individuals that can't really feel the energy or don't consciously see a shift in your life? Is it still working on them, or what do you say to that?
It is. It's still working. Keep in mind that this is the sunlight or starlight. Well, there's trillions upon trillions of stars. Do we feel each star? Can we sense all scalar energy from all the stars? No, nobody can that I know of. Is star energy there? Yes, it pervades the universe. Does this have a salubrious effect? Yes, to some extent, yes. Many people can't put their finger on it, but after they sign up for our 15-day free trial, many people say, I feel better. There's some merit to this.
So because honestly, if you're like even the 0.1s, because that's the thing that I can kind of connect it to only because I used to have one, and it was like scalar energy coming out of the one. And in that situation, there are so many different things when it comes to your health, your consciousness, your mental thoughts, positivity to actually tangible illnesses, that to not feel something doesn't really mean that it's not affecting something else in your life, right? But then on the other hand, like somebody just commented in the YouTube that they had it with you and they didn't feel the health benefits, but they actually felt the scalar. So they were sensitive to the scalar energy affecting them. But it's almost like if somebody's just saying affirmations to you all day, you know, you are love, you are love, you are love, and you don't feel any conscious shift in your life, but that frequency and that energy is definitely being integrated into your body and will uplift you in other ways that you might not even be aware of because it's so subtle, right? Kind of a similar analogy right there.
I like that. And to speak to that point, sure, it is very subtle. And that's one of the beauties of these sessions. It causes no harm. It's not painful. This is light. It's not a chemical process. So there's no die-off. There's no toxic shock. We're working with pure immaculate light. I really believe that scalar energy is from God. It's a divine source of light. So what does that all mean? It can only produce good. This will in some way improve the health of everybody, people and animals, as well as plants.
So we have someone in the chat here saying, will it help heal my right eye? So what do you have to say to that one?
I can't diagnose. I can't diagnose. I would suggest people sign up for the 15-day trial and
see what happens.
Yes.
Yeah, exactly. No, that makes perfect sense. And what you're offering everybody that's tuning in right now is basically if they go to your website, which is scalarlight.com, and I'm going to share the screen in a second, they can sign up for a 15-day free trial.
Right.
No credit or debit card required, just 100% unconditional trial, and they can kind of just sense and feel the experience for themselves.
Exactly. And that's the point we're making. We want you to send your photograph. You're going to email us your photograph, include your pets if you want, other family members, of course. And then your family, you decide if this is of merit. And look at your pets. See if their health improves. All of this is done by way of email photograph. There's no obligation. That's why we have the 15-day free session.
Right. And my friend Joan of Angels, who's, you know Joan, right?
Yes.
So she's a great friend of mine. And she interviewed you just a few months ago.
Yes.
She actually works with me very closely, helps co-produce some of my productions.
Oh, I see.
And she was on your, I don't know if she still is, but was on your protocols at least a few months ago. And she was having a lot of shifts in her life. And that was so tangible that she really did feel the scalar energy working for her. And that was kind of my last experience with it, right when we were kind of arranging to have this conversation.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
All right, so I'm gonna go ahead and share your website, and if you want to comment on anything here, please do. But it's pretty self-explanatory, right? They just come to your
Sure.
website here.
You can see in the top right, there's a 15-day free trial. Just click that. Anybody in the world, anyone in the world is entitled to 15 days of free sessions. Include your family members. We want everybody to experience this. This is a new technology. I don't expect people to understand this. This is groundbreaking. Okay, this is unique. My instruments are unique. So how do we prove this? You prove it by the 15-day trial. Just upload your photograph.
Yep, and the science behind it is now I have more clarity on it too. Like you have a technology that basically is able to sense and collect scalar energy. You have another form of a technology that disperses that over the image that imprints the consciousness of the individual on that image, and then people are seeing results. It's pretty much what's going on, right?
Exactly.
Okay, amazing. All right, well, is there anything else you want to share in regards to this, or do you want to just give us one last push? Like, what is going on with you? Are you going to be at Conscious Life Expo this year at all?
I don't think so because of the quarantine. It's so hard to say, what's going to be allowed and if you're going to be allowed in a public meeting place. So I don't plan to travel to California this year, maybe next year. And if I do, I'll let you know.
All right, for sure. Well, and the benefit is you don't need to be anywhere. It's distant healing, so anybody can get these benefits from wherever they're at. So go ahead.
Yeah, exactly. That's the whole point here. Even though we're under quarantine, send your photograph to us. I work with people in India, Brazil, Europe, anywhere in the world. So that's really the quiddity of the quantum field. It transcends time and space.
Yeah, man. And what you just said about having family members, like if you have family members that are going through issues as well or illnesses, it's not only no commitment, but at the same time you can just send them positive frequencies, literally just positive frequencies. It's non-invasive, right? And see if people benefit from it. So again, everybody, I recommend going to scalarlight.com and just click on the 15-day free trial. No commitment, just go ahead and try it out. I'm actually going to try it out now, and I'm going to put my dad on it too, because my dad has Parkinson's, and maybe it'll just assist him with just some frequencies to alleviate some of the symptoms or something like that. But there really is nothing to lose in trying this.
Yeah, thank you. I'll pray for your dad.
Thanks, bro. Yeah. All right, and that's about it. Thank you so much, Tom. I appreciate your time and energy, brother. Thank you for everything you do and your commitment. And I'm glad that we're finally connected.
Yeah, we reconnect after so many years. It's been probably 5 years. Thank you.
Yeah. So wait, do you remember me?
I do.
Cool. That's awesome. Well, thank you again, bro.
Okay, God bless.
All right, everybody. Take care. Thank you so much for tuning in. Again, check out Tom's website, and we're going to be going live again 2 times this week. So stay tuned for some more epic productions. We have a few announcements and some great events coming up. And again, we're going to actually be going live in about 4 hours with another webinar on consciousness and interdimensional energy. So check that out.